What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Shilling and Stunner podcast. In case you missed it, Kiko Alonso was just picked up by the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, surprised. I ain't heard that name in a while, bro. Kiko Alonso is back. I also heard that the Cardinals and left tackle. I'm not sure if he left tackle, right tackle, but their tackle DJ Humphries. They've agreed on a 3 year, $66.6 million extension, and then the Steelers and kicker Chris Boswell. They also reached a 4 year, 20 million a year extension. And I believe the last thing I heard going around the league was the Bears and former second round pick Tevin Jenkins. He's now on the trade block. Just put a couple things out there in the atmosphere.
Speaking of transactions, Anthony Barr just signed a 1 year deal worth up to $2 million with Dallas.
Man, I'm happy to hear that, man. I've been kind of waiting on this move for a minute now, and I've been wondering, man. We got all this extra cap space. What we gonna do with it, right? I think it's good, man. You get a guy you can bring in a veteran presence, man, to this linebacker room that's still relatively young. You know what I mean? And not only that, I just think this does a lot for Michael Parsons in general. You know what I mean? You get to now be able to move him around without worrying about what that does to the linebacker position if you wanted to put him on the edge or move him around, you know what I mean, vice versa. I think this allows him to be the ultimate chess piece. And not only that, if one of these guys was to go down, the depth at linebacker was kind of shaky at that point. Like, you didn't want to be relying on like a Luke Gifford or any of these guys that's further down the depth chart. Now you can kind of just, work it out a little bit more. So let's say if LVE goes out, you bring in Anthony Barr or Jabril Cox, or then, next guy will be up as far as a Javon Curse rather than some of these, guys that's down the depth chart, man. So I think it's good to get him in there, a nice veteran experience, man, and then who also has, experience with a linebackers coach, George Edwards, over there in Minnesota. So it's great, man. I'm excited.
That's a great point. I do think that this signing adds very important depth to our front seven. This is a move that you've been hammering home for a while now, and I'm still on the Ndamukong Suh train, so we can make that happen and just add a little more depth. But if we didn't make another move on defense this offseason, I guess this season, I'm happy with what we have here. I think that's an important piece. I am curious to see if Dan's going to use him as a rotational piece or like a 3-down guy. I don't like the idea of that if it's going to pull a young Jabril off the field or a Micah. Also, speaking of the linebacker room, I saw rookie Damone Clark talking about having to get with the special teams coach to teach him how to play special teams because he's never played special teams. And I feel like that's important. That a guy like that will be able to come out and show his talent on special teams. That's something I think really goes unrecognized.
That's an awesome conversation right there, man. Young guy just want to play, right? I think as far as Damone Clark goes, I don't know if he will play this year. But then it kind of leads back into the Anthony Barr situation where this allows him to just kind of sit back and get healthy. I do think he's ahead of schedule. But next year, with LVE and Anthony Barr pretty much being up at the end of this year, both of them on 1 year deals, I do think you'll see Damone Clark go ahead and elevate into that role, and he'll be right alongside Parsons and Jabril Cox moving into next season. But that's dope to hear, man. And moving on from this Anthony Barr signing, we did lose James Washington a few days ago. He's now scheduled to be out 8 to 10 to 12 weeks. So it's kind of ranging, but it seems like he's going to be out a while. I just want to know, as far as his wide receiver room, man, what are your thoughts on that at the moment?
I would feel a lot more comfortable if there was a Malik Turner, Cedric Wilson, or Amari Cooper sitting there.
For sure.
But as you can see here, we do have CeeDee Lamb, Tolbert, the rookie, Simi coming into year 2, Noah Brown re-signed with us, Kavontae Turpin, TJ Vasher. So those are a few young boys in there. Noah, though, he's been with the team the longest, I guess, at this point in that wide receiver room, but doesn't have the experience that CeeDee Lamb does. So I think CeeDee's going to be forced to step up this year, especially with the deals that have been done around the league, which we'll hit on here in a little bit later.
But I mean, just to touch on Noah Brown, he is the only guy on the Cowboys roster, wide receiver, that has played any games at this moment, man. And then if you look at the roster as a whole, man, CeeDee Lamb is the only guy who has even recorded a touchdown. So we definitely lacking in experience, man. And man, I will be definitely just kind of looking around the league to see what type of player we could bring in. Like I said, we did Anthony Barr signing, so now it makes me wonder if now we're going to dive back into it and kind of address this receiver position. You've seen Steven and Jerry the first couple of days, he was like, I think we kind of set. And then you see they kind of double back over the last day or so. Just kind of come out and was like, well, yeah, we was already looking at receiver. It is a position that we will want to address. But I mean, we signed Turpin. We brought him over from the USFL, and he's mainly like a fast, twitchy punt return guy. And if you've been paying attention to what's been going on at the practices, he's been the main punt returner. So it does at this moment seems like he's a guy that has a place on this team in this depth chart. As far as snaps, I don't know how that'll go, but it does looks like as far as the punt return position, he's taking a hold on that. Noah Brown has looked great in practice. Great. I know today at camp he made a handful of catches that looked great, and it was good to even see Simi Fehoko step up, made a big play over Trayvon Diggs. You'll see a few people talking about that or whatever. CeeDee Lamb has looked great as always, but it'd be more so who's going to take hold of this number 3 down spot. It looks like Noah Brown is that guy. Jalen Tolbert looks great. But from there on, man, we look at the guys like TJ Vasher, who's made a handful of plays in camp. Now, leading to the preseason, we want to see who sustains that, who actually looks good when the lights come on. But right now, as far as comfortability, I think we should be looking around, searching for one guy, maybe even 2 guys, to be honest, man. Definitely need some more heads in that room.
I do think that Turpin will be more of a special teams guy, kick returner, punt returner. That's the little guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, ain't no way he's running across the middle of the field.
Nah.
I do have a gripe. If Noah wins a starting role, he should change to a team number because I get him and CD confused on the field when it's real time. That gets annoying. Similar to like Saquon and what was it, Booker in New York last year. You can never tell who was who. Of the like notable free agents available, I know that there's a Will Fuller, Cole Beasley previously mentioned, like a return to Dallas. TY's out there. I don't really care to bring in a TY. I am intrigued by an Emmanuel Sanders pickup.
Yeah, to be honest, he has been productive over the last few years. I mean, it's easy just to overlook, but I mean, he still, I feel like got some good seasons left. Talking about Emmanuel Sanders there. T.Y. Hilton, he's been injury riddled the last few seasons. We don't know what that'll look like. So I think if we was to sign him, we'd still be kind of in the same position. So I think in general, I think it's good for us to just kind of let the offseason play out a little bit, unless we're going to go ahead and hit the trade market, try to bring over maybe like a Tyler Lockett, or I see that Laviska Shenault is moving down the depth chart down there in Jacksonville. Maybe give one of these guys a phone call. I see Preston Williams coming out. He's disgruntled over there in Miami. Somebody do something. You know what I mean? Like, I think anybody at this point, man, would be good just to get somebody in there that could just at least hold the fort down until Michael Gallup come back. Because I mean, once Gallup come back, I think we'll be set at the top 3 spots, man. You got a CD. You know how we all feel about Gallup. Toba will be able to man that 3 spot, and then 4th to 5th down. Noah Brown has always been our 4th. You know what I mean, 4th or 5th guy on the depth chart as well. You know what I mean. So I think so at least find somebody that can come in and help us sustain it. But I think in general, as far as the wide receiver room and how everything is going right now, I just think in this first half of the year, you're going to have to lean on the run game to open up things for the passing game. In the last few years, it's been the opposite way. But I think you're now going to need Zeke and Tony Pollard more than ever this year.
I was thinking too, and I failed to mention this before, we did draft a tight end this year in Jake Ferguson. So there is a chance that we could come out and run a little more 12 personnel, establish the run, get the young boy on the field.
That's a great point.
And as previously mentioned, maybe this can expand Tony Pollard's role out into the slot. We can run a little 21, Zeke and Tony in the backfield, one blocking, one running routes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Kellen will probably dial up a few interesting things while Gallup is out.
And that was my next point. I think we wonder, you know what I mean, in general, like what will it look like and how everything's going to turn out. I think you're going to need Kellen Moore to go ahead and gain some skins in this game, man, and go ahead and step up. And, you know what I mean? So he had a lot at disposal over the past couple of years. Now he's lost some. A lot of people are kind of putting it all on Dak, right? They're like, you know what I mean? You're losing less, then Dak should do more. But I think it's kind of unfair to just expect your quarterback just to overcome everything at this point, man. He can throw the ball all he wants, but he still needs somebody on the other end to catch it and make some plays, you know what I'm saying? So we will need Kyla Moore to go ahead and get in his bag for us this year, man. And yeah. That's the only thing I can think about, man. You know, I mean, if it's nobody out there that's going to come and save the day, I don't know who will at this point. then we need Kellen. I mean, he had to go ahead and step up for us.
Speaking of wide receivers, there's a few guys going into year 4 who were actually taken outside of the first round that just received big deals.
Yeah, so we've seen just in recent time, we've seen Metcalf get his deal. Hunter Renfro, he got his money he deserved. Probably a little underpaid, to be honest. You know what I mean? Trying to think of a couple other guys. Terry McLaurin got his deal. AJ Brown, he got his deal. So just to see all these guys finally getting their deal, and all of them been outside the first round is really awesome to see, man. And even Jay Johnson, very deserving of it. He finally put the pen to the paper, you know what I mean? And receiving somewhere around 19 mil right in that Christian Kirk range. And then finally you see Debo Samuels finally reach the terms on that deal. And I think just kind of sitting back and see that come to fruition is great. I mean, I know it's a lot of back and forth, pretty much, you know what I mean, about whether he wanted to be, you know what I mean, paid as a wide receiver, and they was using him as a running back. But then you see, you know, the terms and everything comes out, and he has his incentives in there where, you know what I mean, as long as he gets over, I believe it's 380 rushing yards, he gets to receive 650K each year. And then also as well, 100 extra 150K as long as he gets 3 touchdowns in a year. So I mean, that's dope. It's dope to see.
Is that 150K for 3 rushing touchdowns or 3 touchdowns?
3 rushing touchdowns. I'm sorry, 3 rushing touchdowns.
Gotcha,
Yep.
gotcha.
So just I mean, they pay him as a receiver, but it's like pretty much. I still want you to reach these. You know, what I mean, gives him that incentive to go ahead and keep putting the ball in his hand and rushing from a running back standpoint. So it's good.
Let's talk about Desean Watson.
Yeah, it's been a lot of back and forth, right?
Right.
We've been on both sides of the fence here, man. It's like a couple of days ago, it was like, is he back for 6 games? Then you see the appeal process, and they throwing out there, you know, I mean, maybe in a different suspension, but I think, yeah, that'll do a lot, especially for Mark Cooper moving over in that situation. How would he look? You know what I mean? And what would they keep him amongst the best receivers in the league? But just to stay on the Deshaun Watson thing, man, just having your thoughts on that, man. What do you think this is heading to as far as the appeal process, and like you lean in more towards, you think it's going to stay at 6 games, or what good they'll find a way to just kind of, you know, overshadow everything and kind of get his way.
I think it is worth noting that the judge who ruled on this case was appointed by Goodell, and I do think it kind of makes him look like an ass trying to now appeal the decision when you gave someone else the ability to make a decision.
Right.
Seems a little micromanaging, but I don't think he wants this to end up in court. And from what I understand, if he tries to go for a full year, it has to go to court. But if they can settle for less, like say 12 games, and meet in the middle, so to say, they can avoid court. So I think that's probably the more realistic approach, would probably be 10, 12, 14 games, somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But also I think it's worth mentioning that Cleveland rigged the whole system with his 1-year salary this year. As it stands now, he's only set to miss like $350,000 this year with the 6-game suspension. So I know the league is also going to try to implement a fine to essentially take away what Cleveland tried to rig to save his bank account.
Seems like all other teams came together and they kind of mad about that money situation. So it seems like one way or the other, they're going to, you know what I mean, they're going to try to get their way with this. Now, I know you said try to not take it to federal court, but I wouldn't be surprised if Goodell even try to push it there, because, I mean, if it go to federal court, I just felt like he'll go ahead and try to do his thing where he'll put Deshaun Watson on the exempt list, and maybe he'll just try to hold him out for as long as he wants to anyway. You know what I mean? And when you're on a exempt list, you don't get to pay them. They don't get to receive that money regardless. So not saying that would happen per se, but I mean, it is a possibility.
I do think too that there's something where if it goes to federal court, he can file some sort of like a restraining order of some sort that would allow him to play this year, which is kind of how I think it was Zeke got suspended midseason, and he kind of filed a similar motion in order to play. So there could be a situation where Deshaun,
I remember that,
plays, it's suspended those 6 games, plays 6 games, and then it's suspended again.
Right.
Which would be very interesting. But I do think also Goodell should take a really hard look at what he is suspending these guys for. Really gets a whole year for gambling. Zeke gets 6 games. Like Brady got 4 for something that was never proven. So where is the line drawn, and like how are these punishments really considered fair, I guess?
Yeah, they definitely gotta figure out some type of consistency or transparency. I mean, it seems like it's all over the place at this point. You know what I mean? This guy gets 17 for gambling on games. You got a guy getting 6 games here, and DeAndre Hopkins for just a trace of PEDs. They got to figure it out, man. And just to kind of transition from that and talk about suspensions as a whole, we seen like even a day later. I'm not sure if that was to just kind of overshadow everything else was going on. We also seen that the news came out about the Miami Dolphins and Stephen Ross and he being suspended. You know what I mean, as an owner, and also getting a fine. I believe it was like a total up to 1.5 million out of his pockets, and then the Dolphins in general just you know what I mean, losing. I believe it was a first round draft pick, and then also a third round next year.
Bro, how do you suspend a whole owner? That's crazy. How do you suspend a billionaire? But
Right.
I do think there is more to the story in Miami. I think clearly the Brady Sean Payton collusion is a thing, and I wonder if Brady and Payton are innocent in all this. Because what if there's like a plan next year, like move off of Tua, bring in Brady and Sean Payton, and it's already like pre-planned? If we were to find that out, there would be some crazy repercussion there. But as far as like tanking is concerned with Miami, I guess the decision that was made had really not much to do with the tanking. But
Right.
to lose a first and a third round pick for like a Josh McDaniels, he's probably sitting there like, "What the fuck? Like, what did I do
Michael
wrong?"
Dang said it.
That yeah,
Yeah,
that's
how ironic is that? Like you get your new team, you're trying to get all your assets together, you're trying to build them up the right way, and then you lose a pick because they didn't really want you. You know what I mean?
right.
But yeah, I think that's kind of funny, man. And also, like you said about the Brian Flores thing, I do think, yeah, I seen something that they released news that said, I think they cleared them of all, you know what I mean, wrongs doing on that side of it. So
Some additional news around the league. We all saw that Kyla Murray got a deal. A few days later, it came out that there were some special incentives in his deal regarding study time and all that. After some outcry and complaining, I guess you could say, that was removed from his deal. But I did hear the other day that Kyler Murray forgot to do his math homework, and PlayStation Network might be canceling his subscription because he's spending too much time on there during the week.
that is crazy, bro. That is crazy, man. So so it's like a direct correlation between him playing Call of Duty and then him having bad games. That's funny. you look you looking like a little midget over there yourself, bro. But I definitely think that's funny, man. I think by them even taking that back, like saying, "Hey, we're gonna put this in your contract as far as a clause," and then take that back the same day that he came out publicly, and was pretty much saying like, "Hey, I just feel like it's disrespectful. I just feel like they caved in." You know what I mean? And why even put it in the first place? So I mean, it's not like we're gonna forget about it. You know what I mean? It was there for a
Right.
reason. They put it out there, and yeah. So that's
No, I
hilarious,
do.
though.
I do think that was definitely an attack on Kyler's reputation. And I don't think it was like intentionally to attack his reputation. Essentially, I think if he would have just gone about things the right way and got off the game, studied the
Yeah.
tape like he was supposed to, he wouldn't even have to worry about his reputation.
Doesn't it sound
But it
like a
is
middle
sad to
school kid,
see,
bro?
huh?
That sound like a middle school kid, bro. It's like, hey, do your
It's
homework.
weird.
And matter of fact, in the process, I'm gonna take away your PS5 and your Call of Duty access until you get your grades together, son. So,
That's crazy, bro. And because I mean, relying on talent alone can only take you so far. So I think it would suck really bad, like five
but
years
you
from
gotta get
now.
taller again, bro.
Oh my bad. Let me get up here. I do think like imagine 5 years from now, Kyler Murray's just like a guy. Like he's just a talented guy who never lived up to what he was supposed to. So I do hope he could get his head on straight, study the tape, make the NFL a little more interesting if he put in the effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. So before we wrap things up, I just want to know if you want to play a little smoke or fire. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. I see that it came out in Jets camp that, you know what I mean, Joe Flacco was over there looking a little bit better than Zach Wilson at this point. And then following that, we see Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets. He comes out and he says, "Yeah, Joe Flacco is looking great. He's actually a starter in this league. He's not a backup." So I'm wondering at this point, do you think it's smoke with as far as him looking better than Zach Wilson right now? And is there a possibility that he can come in and get some playing time if Zach Wilson is not looking up to par this season?
I think that's fire. I feel like that in that situation, Salah is trying to make it seem like there's not high expectations for Zach Wilson this year when there is, given all the talent they brought into the offense. And I don't think that you can go in there and bench Zach Wilson for Flacco and then try to bring Zach Wilson in later. Once you bench Zach Wilson, like his confidence is going to be shot. Kind of like what happened with Tua last year when Flores benched him,
Yeah.
restarted him, like that whole thing. So no, I don't think you can do that. What about you? Do you think that that's smoke or fire?
See, I'm calling BS. I'm calling smoke on it all the way. And honestly, for the same reason that you just said, I just feel like if you was to move on from a Zach Wilson and bringing in Joe Flacco, I think at this point you're only in year 2. As far as your high draft pick, you're building his roster around him per se. So I think in any situation that you bring in Joe Flacco, what does that do to a young quarterback's confidence? And then could you put that in reverse, and could you bring a Zach Wilson back in? I think if you bring a Joe Flacco in at any given point, I just think it's bad, and I just think it signals you know what I mean, that you don't believe in him, that you're giving up on him. So I don't mind if you bench him for, like I say, a fourth quarter, a third quarter, he has a bad game, and then the next week he's a starter again. But I think if it's any situation where you kind of put him in there for you know what I mean, a few games or anything, it may be a bad situation there in New York. So
I agree
smoke,
100%.
smoke, big smoke.
All right. With that being said, thanks everyone for tuning into the Shilling and Stunner podcast. We appreciate the views. You got any final words?
Nah, man. You know the vibes, man. I just want to appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. If you haven't already, make sure y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe, man, and just make sure y'all tune in for another one. Peace.